given the Open Plus agreement we had over the weekend, and given what you're telling us about storage and demand, do you expect OPEC Plus to cut further?
Well, I think in the last few days there were two very important efforts. One from the OPEC Plus countries having the agreement, and second, there was an extraordinary G20 meeting organized by the chair, the Saudi Arabia, at the suggestion of the International Energy Agency. They both brought some good news to the markets, but demand is falling down so badly that they could only limit the damage. We expect this year global oil demand to decline 9 million barrels per day. And in the month of April, demand to collapse 29 million barrels per day. This is a huge demand decline record around the world. If I can put in a context, a few minutes ago, you showed the IMF, a big decline in the global economy, yep. 3%. And this would mean that we are going to erase last year's 2019 economic growth. Mm-hmm. But in terms of oil demand, we are erasing in the entire decade, last 10 years of oil demand growth, last 10 years, vis-a-vis 1 year of economic growth. So there's a disproportional effect on
Fatih,
the oil sector.
So what does it mean for further production cuts? I know you were also involved in the negotiations at the G20 level, where we heard that G20 members would help with production cuts. Is this actual production cuts, or is it the fact that they're not pumping because the price of oil is too low?
There are different approaches from different countries. This happens as a result of some countries are seeing that the market conditions push them. In some countries, there's a logistical bottlenecks. In some countries, there's a shut-in. But when we put 4 countries here, U.S., Canada, Brazil, and Norway, who did participate to this G20 meetings, our expectation is they altogether production decline in those countries, our estimates about 3.5 million barrels per day on top of the OPEC plus countries agreement. And if this two efforts from OPEC plus and the G20 wouldn't happen, if we were not able to see those, if we didn't see those efforts from those countries, we would have seen even a higher stock build. It helped us to shave the peak somehow.
Fatih, good morning. Tom Keene in New York. Thank you so much for joining us today. I want to go back to what I'm sure you studied at the Vienna University of Technology a long, long time ago, which is how people cheat within the cartel. And now the new edition, how do they cheat outside the cartel? When do we begin to see people cheat on the recent promises?
So thank you very much. It is one of the things that I remember from my studies in Vienna. You are completely right. And I would say that our numbers, these even rather, I would say, bleak numbers, are based on the 100% compliance on those targets. If there is that 100% compliance by the producers, the targets they have announced, the situation may be even much more serious than we have outlined this morning. And as such, compliance is very important. And it is, again, I underline once again, it is important that all the world understands how serious this issue is. We have already a very unstable global economy, and the oil industry, the developments in the oil industry may well provide additional volatility and also instability to the global economy.
Fatih, very quickly here, we've seen the price of oil come down. What are the ramifications to the IEA system if we see oil priced down to $18, $17, $16 West Texas Intermediate? What does that actually signal?
There are a few implications. One, there will be a wave of unemployment in the oil and gas industry. It is the workers on the oil fields, engineers, refinery workers, or the people selling oil in the pump station, retail fuel sales. They are going to lose millions of people, and their families will be affected. Some of the very vulnerable oil-producing countries, such as Iraq, such as Nigeria, Ecuador, they are going to face a double challenge of the economic meltdown and fighting against coronavirus in the absence of having economic means. Several oil companies will face major challenges to invest in the oil and gas business. So there will be sweeping implications from unemployment to the economic and social implications, the vulnerable oil countries, and to the major oil companies around the world.
Fatih, in 20 seconds, what's the correlation if we keep in lockdown economies for one extra month? How much does that shave off demand? Do you have that kind of figure?
Yes, I believe, Francine, when we look back a few years from now, I would say that we may well see that it was the worst year in the history of global oil markets for this year. And during that terrible year, the second quarter we are in may well have been the worst of the lot. And when we look at that quarter, April may well have been the worst.
Fatih,
I would.
Thank you so much, Fatih.
thank you so much.